right. Welcome, everybody, to Speaking of Zane, November 24th, Thanksgiving week, 2024, 302nd edition of Speaking of Zane. How about that? We eclipsed the 300 episode mark a couple of weeks ago, 302, on toward 400 now. So appreciate you guys being along with us. Full show. Good to have everybody in there. So let's see. I've had a fantastic week at home. I've had last week at home. I'll have this week at home, which was pretty incredible considering I've been on the road 5 of 6 weeks. So it's good to get home. And before I forget, since it's Thanksgiving week, put in the chat places that you were deployed or TDY over at Thanksgiving. Put that in the chat. And I'll add mine later. And Steve Shirley just checked in with me. And of course, he and Kathy are down in the southern hemisphere on the bottom of South America. And I'm not sure exactly where they're at today, but he said the internet was kind of spotty and he would keep trying to join for Speaking of Zane. But let's see, we got Matt Aaron in there. Matt is one of Zane's battle buddies. Always good to have you in there, Matt. Can't wait to see you in 2026. I might need your help too, by the way. You know, we're coming up there for the race, and the race is going to have somewhat of a focus on Zane 2026. It'll be the 10th year anniversary of his passing. And I'd like to make that a reunion of sorts. So, wow, if we could gather up all of those that attended his funeral 10 years on and see how many we could get to show up there in Michigan. Man, that would just be that would be fantastic. That would warm my heart so much. But we have a year and a half or so to work on that, Matt. So I don't know if you're a member of any groups or if you keep in touch with any of those folks. But yeah, we'll start spreading the word, and that would be just fantastic. Let's see. My dad's in there. Hey, Dad. I count every day a blessing that my dad is here. He's 80 years old, and I'm thinking he might outlive me. Because he is in such good health and is active, and we will see. But good to have you in there, Dad. And Brenda Lusk is in there. Speaking of Michigan, Brenda, hope to meet you when we're up there in 2026. Ken is in there. Hey, Ken, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you in there. Hey, there's my cousin Cindy. Cindy is the daughter of my Aunt Betty D, who's the sister of my dad. She's the oldest sister. And I think she just had a birthday. Didn't she, Cindy, have a birthday? Was that last week or the week before? And I think maybe Aunt Mary had one recently, too. Jimbo Miller's in there. Jim, I owe you an apology. You sent me an email to my Gmail account, which I don't follow. I don't look at that closely. But I got your email, Jim. I got your email, and I'm so sorry about the health problems you've had. But I'm glad that you're here with us tonight, and glad that you're doing better. Now, speaking of health, remember our buddy Daryl has been in and out of the hospital since he had his knee replacement surgery. Well, he was back out, and I saw a note from him today that he was back in again, but not related to the knee, cardiopulmonary thing. But he just posted something within the last hour that says it's not heart related. So anyway, they're working on it. But Daryl, I don't know if Daryl's on tonight. We'll see him if he joins, but he's in the hospital, so he may not be able to join. But Daryl lives in the St. Louis metro. And but Daryl, we're thinking about you, praying for you. And I know he's able to keep up on Facebook every now and then and let us know what's going on there. Okay. Yep, October 25th. Okay, Cindy, thank you for that. Okay, Matt. Yeah, no problem. I'm still in touch. I'm in touch with Johnny and Sergeant White, and there's a handful of people that I'm connected with still. But I think if we put the word out next year, we could probably get some folks to join. That would be an awesome reunion for you all too. Well, Dad is piping in here on some places that he was deployed over Thanksgiving: Vietnam, Cuba, the Midway, Haiti, Iwakuni, Japan. Wow, that's incredible. But people don't often realize that that folks that are serving they don't have a regular holiday schedule. They're often away, deployed during holiday times or births of their children or things like that. So, well, Phil Blue, what do you think about that? That is a blast from the past. Phil, good to have you in there. Are you still in South Kakalaki? Good to see your name pop up for sure. And I know I probably speak for Jim and others that we sure did look up to you in those days that we served together. We were young whippersnappers, but good to have you in there. And I don't know if you have stopped by here before or see what we do on Sunday nights about speaking to Zane. It's all about keeping the memory of my son Zane alive. Zane unfortunately passed a couple years after returning from a combat tour in Iraq. And we use, speaking of Zane, this live stream to keep his memory alive and make sure that he's not forgotten. They say that a person dies twice, once when they take their last breath, and then again when their name is no longer spoken. So we couldn't bear to let that happen to Zane. He was but 26 years old when he passed, and has two beautiful children that we adore. And that is what this live stream is all about every week. Okay, well, let's see. Last week at work, I had a really interesting session where I co-hosted a session across our whole company about supporting veterans in the workplace and supporting veteran families. And it was we had one of our executives, a teammate of mine, Mike, who joined me, and it was a really good discussion. I don't know, that may have been 40 people or so that were able to join, but that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing those things. But like I mentioned, I am home. I was home last week. I'm home this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, short work week, like most of you that are still working, but Thursday, Friday, holiday. Happy to say that our son Jackson, his wife Caitlin, and daughter Carson will be coming over for Thanksgiving. They live close. And then my daughter Hannah, Army vet, her new husband Kaleem, and her son Everett will be coming over. They live maybe like 45 minutes, an hour drive away. And then our daughter Charlotte, who lives in Chicago, is flying in. I think I'm picking her up tomorrow evening, maybe. So that'll be good. We'll have all three kids here, which will be nice. So looking forward to that. And let's see. Well, Saturday, this time of year, Saturday is all about college football. I did watch a bunch of games. Georgia Southern beat Coastal Carolina. I follow Southern because Charlotte went to school there. UGA number 6 now beat UMass. No surprise there. Texas beat Kentucky. Texas has moved up a little bit. Bama lost to Oklahoma. How about that? Bama is probably having the worst season they've had in recent history. I watched another really good game, kind of inconsequential, really, but I have one of my students at work, or one of my former students, is a Florida Gator, and so I always follow Florida. Florida beat Ole Miss. Florida wasn't supposed to beat Ole Miss, but they did. That was a really good game. And then, yeah, I haven't got to that one yet, Matt. That was the heartbreaker. The 4 overtimes, A&M losing to Auburn. Uh, Auburn had nothing. Auburn had nothing at stake, but A&M certainly did. A&M dropped to number 20, I believe. But what a fantastic game, though! Wow, what an exciting game. I mean, how many times do you see a game that goes 4 overtimes? And this college football overtime stuff is different. I didn't realize the rules and overtime, but anyway, A&M didn't wasn't able to pull through. And they're playing Texas Saturday, so we'll see how things go. Texas beat Kentucky. Texas is number 3. I'll be traveling. I don't think I'm going to get to see that game. Texas A&M. I'm flying to London on Saturday, and most of the flights that go to Europe are overnight flights. So I'm flying late afternoon, early evening. I can't remember what, but maybe I can watch some of the game at the airport. We'll see. And then Nebraska. I always follow Nebraska because we lived there for so long. Nebraska beat Wisconsin. And hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week. Hat of the week always has something to do with what the heck is going on around here. And because Charlotte is coming home for Thanksgiving, and we haven't seen her for a little bit, I wore the United Airlines hat because she works for United Airlines. Since we saw her last, she's been all over the world with United Airlines. She she's like their lead. Um, what do you call it? Geopolitical analyst. She advises the leadership of the company, the whole company. She advises them on what their security posture should be based on events that are occurring around the globe. So kind of fun. She keeps me up to date on things that she can tell me. But yeah, that'll be good. That's why the United Airlines hat is the hat of the week. All right, let's see. So Jimbo, where Jimbo worked Thanksgivings at Shaw Air Force Base. Jimbo was probably also like me, worked some Thanksgivings or other holidays either on alert or on airborne or TDY somewhere. Um, I think I did a Thanksgiving in the Azores. I did some Thanksgivings on the Looking Glass. Um, so incredible. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? Veteran Cemetery Challenge. We have this challenge where we've been, as a group, we will, if we visit a veteran cemetery, a military cemetery, national cemetery, we share that with each other. And we just started chronicling those. And turns out they're very interesting places. Not only are they very reverent places, but they're very interesting because depending on the cemetery and how old it is and the geography and the climate, and it's a different experience at every one. And I don't even know how many of them I've been to now, but I seek them out now. I seek them out. And so we track them every week. And usually Daryl makes at least one visit a week to Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, which I'm very fond of there near St. Louis. But he was not able to make it, of course, with his health. But Our good friend and colleague Lanny Witt happened to be up in Missouri. He lives in Alabama, but he was up there and he paid a visit to Daryl's wife Wanda there at Jefferson Barracks. So that was quite a treat to have Lanny report in. And then I always chronicle my dad's visits and my sister's visits. And then I made a visit today to Georgia National Cemetery. Um, our little granddaughter, Carson, she's 4. She'll be 5 on New Year's Eve. And she's the daughter of our youngest son, Jackson. Jackson served in the Air Force. And they have a little girl, Carson, and they might live about 15 miles away, 10 miles away, something like that. Well, um, the, their little daughter will often stay with us over the weekends. And, so she stayed with us last night, and she is a pistol. She, it was Saturday's college football day, right? Relaxing, college football, watch the game. Not when she's here. College football just happens to be on in the background. Um, she requires 100% attention, but that's okay. Anyway, she was here overnight, and Lori does a great job with her. And but I took her home today, and they live over almost to Woodstock. So I drove from their place and went up to Canton, where Georgia National Cemetery is, and visited Zane. It's a beautiful day today, 68 degrees or so, sunny, beautiful up there. Um, it's about 25 miles from us north, so you get toward the foothills, and just beautiful up there. A lot of people in the cemetery. I took a 2-mile walk in the cemetery. If you do 2 circuits, it happens to be almost exactly 2 miles, and I did that. I discovered there, quite by accident, there were 2 Marines that were killed within just a couple of months of each other in Iraq. I believe, let me share that with you. I think I've got it pulled up here. Yeah, let me share this. These 2 Marines, I never noticed it before. I've been going out there for almost 10 years now, eight and a half, 9 years. And of course, I haven't seen every single headstone, but um, I was walking and I was paying more close attention than I normally do to some of the headstones. I'm going to share with you what I found, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know how many killed in action that we have there at Georgia National, but I came across this Lance Corporal James Camrion, and he was killed in September of 2006 in Iraq. I looked him up because next to him, not right next to him, but the next row, right from him, was this Marine, Christopher Warren. Christopher was killed on November of 2006. So James was killed September '06. Christopher was killed November of '06, both in Iraq. And I had never noticed this before. They're both Georgia Marines, both killed in Iraq, different locations, different units, had nothing to do with each other, but they were buried like you can touch both of the headstones at the same time. That's how close they are together. So incredible. So I'll pay more attention to that when I visit. But I thought that was interesting. on my visit today. Let's see what else we got going here. If I add up all the visits that I'm aware of, we had 7 visits this week, so that puts us at 1,336 visits that we've made since we started tracking these things, quite by accident. Um, I think it was because um, Lori and I were driving from here to College Station, Texas, when Charlotte was in college at Texas A&M. And along the way, we stopped at national cemeteries, and then we got the idea that we would just start chronicling those visits, and here we are, 1,336 visits later to almost 200 different locations all across not just the U.S. but in Europe as well. So thank you guys for doing that alongside us. Yes, David. Yes, your airborne was different than our airborne. Our airborne meant if we had to jump out, something was wrong. Your airborne meant that you were going to jump out. That's the way I define the difference between airborne. Okay, how about the Thank a Vet challenge? So, right along the same uh, period of time, we started thinking about, well, man, don't people that are serving or have served deserve to be acknowledged and thanked and um, interacted with? And we started doing that. Gosh, I don't even know how long ago now, but it it kind of caught on with us, all of us, and we've been doing it ever since. 300 and some weeks later, but so we capture these. I had a really good week. Last week we had 110 thank yous, if you remember, or 110 interactions, however you want to look at it. But this week I had 30 thank yous at work. 31 actually, 30 during this session that I did, and then another one, a Marine, later in the week. So 31, um, we'll call that 31 thank yous for the week. So we are at 3,178 times that one of us in this relatively small group of patriots has said, thank you, appreciate your service. What did you do in the military? Uh, Whatever the interaction was. So thank you guys for that. All right, let's see what David says there. Yep, I know you're in mid Florida. Um, yeah, I've been to that cemetery at in Cocoa Beach. I have a man I served with who rests there, George Wellman. Been there a couple times. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear the circumstances of that, Dave. And so we'll be thinking about you there. What is the? You can tell us when you get back. What is the? Um, is your Ranger platoon sergeant? Is he being buried at a national cemetery, at a state veteran cemetery, or you can let us know that later. Yeah, that's right, Ken. Awesome. Okay. Well, good stuff. Well, I appreciate you guys being there. Dave, I appreciate you joining us. And Phil Blue, I appreciate you joining us, man. That's what was it, Phil? Eight that we served together, 86, 87, 88, that window. And then even before that, when you were teaching at tech school, I was at tech school, 81, 82. So, wow. You're probably getting old like the rest of us, aren't you? But I'm sure you're in great shape. You were always in great shape back in those days. Okay, well, how about organizations as we wrap it up here? I mentioned the Running to Honor 2026. There'll be an element of Running to Honor for 2026 that's all about Zane. So that's going to be fantastic, and looking forward to that. And then My Warriors Place, I talked with Kelly Kowal Friday You guys have met her. She's been a guest, and um, I'm trying to coordinate a work day out there with some of my colleagues, and then we were talking about some other things she's got coming up in February. So it's always great to stay connected with her, and boy, she just, you know, she has this place that is out of the kindness of her heart, um, and it gets hit, by three hurricanes in a row, and she has the most positive attitude. It's just incredible what the human can endure if their attitude is positive. And anyway, um, you guys know how Lori and I appreciate Kelly and my Warriors Place. So stay tuned for more on things going on there. And then Reach Across America. So if you have a national cemetery or a veteran cemetery near you that participates in Wreaths Across America, you ought to consider going out there and helping. We've done it for years now, and we do it at Georgia National Cemetery. And then my work, since we're headquartered in St. Louis, we have a bunch of our employees go out to Jefferson Barracks. Um, I think the last date to sponsor wreaths is December 2nd and 3rd, depending on the region. They got East, Midwest, West, but you can go to their website, reachacrossamerica.org, and find all that information out. But that is in full swing. And if you're looking for some good, wholesome radio programming, um, talk or music, classic American music, Americana, country. Um, they have a radio station. There's a radio station called Wreaths Across America Radio. Excuse me, Wreaths Across America Radio. You can go to their website and you can click the radio button, or you can go to like how do I listen to it? iHeartRadio, or some of the other outlets. And on my daily walk, I'll listen to Reach Across America Radio, especially this time of year, November, December, because content is really good. They talk about a lot of veteran-related stuff, military-related stuff. So it's really good, wholesome programming there. Highly recommend. Okay, unfortunately, we did lose another service member over this last week. It's the second week in a row we've reported the loss of a service member as a result of a motorcycle accident. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Avery Leverett, who's just 21, was killed in a 5-vehicle crash in Okinawa, and unfortunately, he was dead on arrival at the hospital. So the stats are pretty high on military members dying on motorcycle accidents. I don't know why, but anyway, so that's a sad piece of news there. But all right, folks. Well, I think that is all I've got for you this week. Just if you come across a veteran or a service member or a first responder, but they're certainly worthy of you stopping and saying, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing." Um, and if you're like me, Daryl, my dad, and others, and you wear veteran ball caps and stuff, you're likely to get a thank you from someone yourself along the way. But on this week of Thanksgiving, I tell you, I'm ultra thankful for those that choose to serve. Less than 1% of us, I believe, U.S. population over time has stepped up to serve, and that's a pretty small percentage of the overall population. But hope you all have a great Thanksgiving with family and friends. And I don't know about speaking to Zane for the next couple of weeks because Lori and I are going to be in London. So I'm arriving Sunday morning. Lori, I'm not sure when Lori's going to get there. I'm going on Delta for work. She's going on United standby with our friends and family. So I'm not sure when she's going to get there. But I'm not quite sure about Speaking to Zane. We may not have a Speaking to Zane for the next couple of weeks, but if we don't, that'll make it even better when I get back, and we'll have the next Speaking to Zane. I guess if we don't do it next week and the next, it would be the 15th before we get another Speaking of Zane in, but that'd be okay. But maybe I'll do a couple of on location um, streams for you all, and we'll look forward to that. Well, have a great week. We'll look forward to seeing you all whenever, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we appreciate every one of you. Take care, everybody.